What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. And in this video, I wanted to talk about Diablo 3. So I've recently picked this game back up and I've been playing it on Nintendo Switch 2. And honestly, I am having a blast jumping back into Diablo 3 after not playing it for a few years. This game is extremely fun in 2025 and I'm really glad I jumped back in. All right, just to start off, my history, a little bit of my history with Diablo 3. So I first played Diablo 3 back on the original Nintendo Switch in 2019. I only played through the story mode a couple of times. So I tried a few different classes. I think I made a necromancer and a barbarian, and I never really grinded out the end game of Diablo 3. Back in those days, I really didn't know about the real end game grind in these ARPGs. I just played through the story a couple times, tried a couple different classes, and that was it. I think I played it for about 40 hours and never really came back to it. Then in 2023, I started playing Diablo 4, and something about that game really clicked with me. It was really the first ARPG that I started to take seriously and did all of the in-game content, everything that was there. And after that, I really fell in love with the genre as a whole. I played all of the heavy hitters: Path of Exile 2, Torchlight 2, Titan Quest, Grim Dawn. Started putting a lot of hours into each of them, going fairly deep into all of their respective in-game contents. And the whole genre really started to click for me, but I never really returned back to Diablo 3. Fast forward till around late 2024, early 2025, I sort of burned out with the genre as a whole. So through 2023 to about this time in early 2025, late 2024, they were basically all I played. All I played was ARPGs, and I really started to burn out with them, partly due to these really toxic communities that start to build around a lot of these games. This, constant complaining and the obsession with speed and efficiency over fun. I'll come back to that point, but needless to say, I burnt out with the genre as a whole. So now if we fast forward to now, later 2025, I get the Nintendo Switch 2. And I'm having a lot of fun playing the Nintendo Switch 2 games, Donkey Kong Bonanza, your Mario Kart Worlds, all of those new Switch 2 games. But I started to look at some of my old Switch library, and I was impressed that some of them started to run a little bit better on the new hardware. And so I was just going through and downloading some of my old games I had on the Switch 1, and Diablo 3 really stuck out to me as a game. I was like, okay, I remember playing this game on the Switch. I really love the genre now. I never revisited Diablo 3, and I actually wanted to go back and play that game and really grind through that in-game content. And now that I've started to play it again, I made a necromancer. I'm, deep into the greater rifts. I am enjoying this so much more than I actually thought I would. And I've pinpointed it down to two primary reasons. One is the portability aspect of all of this, and the second is the lack of these toxic communities around the more modern ARPGs. Since Diablo 3 is much older, it just doesn't have that. So going to the first part, the portability aspect, playing an ARPG on a handheld just feels way more chill, way more, easy going, right? You're not sitting at your desk sweating over your mouse and keyboard, right? You're on your couch, you're chilling with your Switch, you're grinding out some Paragon levels, trying to chase those items. It really just feels a lot more easy going, and it's something that I can just kind of pick up and play. In a lot of ways, I started to approach Diablo 3 and ARPG a lot like people approach cozy games, right? Things like Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, where you can just pick it up and play for a couple minutes, do a couple of little things in your town, right? Like you do in Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing. I started to approach Diablo the same way. I just pick up for a couple minutes, run some greater rifts or do some bounties, and then I'm done. It was 20, 30 minutes, and it felt nice. It was just much more amenable to those shorter play sessions. I could take it anywhere. I recently took my Switch 2 with me to a coffee shop. It was just playing Diablo 3 the whole time. I was in there for about an hour just playing Diablo 3, and it just felt really good to have this experience where you can, play an ARPG in these really short, bite-sized sessions. You can take it anywhere. And it just felt way more chill, just being able to play it without taking everything so seriously, just chilling with the game and being able to play it at my own pace. So, and I don't think that's an experience that I would have necessarily had if I kept playing it on console or playing it on a PC. So having it on the Switch 2 and really using that portability aspect of the Switch 2 has helped me really refine this more chill attitude towards ARPGs in general. But the second point that I wanted to mention here is that because Diablo 3 is such an old game, right? Its seasons are kind of in maintenance mode. They're basically rolling through the same, about 4 or 5 different mechanics that they bring up for the seasons. There's no big shakeups in the game. The community around it's less active, so it just contributes to that feeling of everything just being way more chill, right? I mentioned earlier that one of the reasons that I burnt out on ARPGs was these toxic communities that surround these games. Their communities are so active and they're never really satisfied with anything, right? So every new season, every new patch is just an outrage. Every new season of Diablo 4 is misguided. It's not delivering on its promises. And, there's all these outrage videos about Diablo 4 seasons. Every new patch of Path of Exile 2 or Last Epoch, people are complaining about their builds getting nerfed, or, some new mechanic that they don't like, some new thing in the game that they don't like. And it just becomes this shouting match to see who can complain the loudest. And, I try not to let it affect my enjoyment of these games. You can just say, oh, well, ignore them. Like, it doesn't matter. But it's tough. You come to YouTube and you're looking for commentary about your games that you enjoy. You're looking for guides to help you get a better build or get past a tough challenge. And you're just blasted with these videos of people complaining and yelling. And I know that this is the internet and that is just what thrives here. But, it was just so cool to be able to play an old ARPG like Diablo 3, to be able to unplug from all of that toxicity without all the noise, without all the complaining. It has just been super refreshing. Every time I search Diablo 3 on YouTube, it's a channel like Filthy Casual or, some other YouTubers that are still around in the Diablo 3 scene, just dropping knowledge or just talking about the game in a very chill and positive light. So I really feel like this more chill environment on YouTube, and just like, the fact that there aren't a bunch of creators talking about Diablo 3 has really helped me just take everything at my own pace and not feel like I have to chase some, overpowered build that a streamer just posted about, or, have to, think about some new mechanic that people are complaining about, or just listen to that toxicity. It just really helped Diablo 3 feel like a really nice, chill experience. And I've really been loving that. This first experience that I've had with Diablo 3's Endgame has been really fun. So before last week, I had never run a greater rift. I had never gotten a single piece of ancient gear, right? Because I mentioned when I played Diablo 3 the first time, I just went through the story. I never really grinded out the Endgame. But this has really been super fun. Diablo 3's Endgame, it's simple, yes, and some people, knock it for being simple, but it's a really fun loop. From the footage that you're seeing, I built up a Death Nova Necromancer using the Trag'Oul avatar set. That's the set that was given to you in the seasonal journey. I've since leveled up a couple of those pieces of gear, got some ancient pieces from the Trag'Oul set. But it's just been really fun. Working toward a build that can just go into elite packs and blow everything up has been really, really fun. Just being able to play it this time around without being obsessed with the fastest leveling strategies, or obsessing over getting the perfect stats for every piece of gear, or having to check some trade site to see if I can build or buy the piece that I need. No, this is just, Diablo 3 is just good, clean ARPG fun. And it really just reminded me what the genre is really about, right? What is the essence of an ARPG? It is that fun of fighting monsters, and getting loot, exploring these big open maps and treasure hunting, and finding that perfect piece that you need for your build after grinding up to that appropriate level where you can take on that challenge. There really is nothing like it in video games. And I really love this genre for refining that gameplay loop to a science, and Diablo 3's really simple loop helps to do that really better than almost anything else I've ever played. So this experience has really just in general rekindled my love for this genre that I kind of burnt out from a little over a year ago. And it really reminded me that if you take the internet out of it, if you take the streamers out of it, these games are pretty fun if you just approach them in the right way. So I think I will jump back into this genre a bit moving forward, right? Jump back into Diablo 4's, the Path of Exile 2's, Last Epoch. But I want to have two major rules for myself. The first is to play more casually, right? Explore the game, take everything at your own pace, take it as your own journey. You don't have to complete the entire season journey in a weekend. You can play these things last for 3-4 months in most cases. Play it at your own pace and just enjoy your own fun. And the second rule I'm going to have for myself is to eliminate or at least limit the amount of time I spend watching YouTube content creators around any of these games, right? Not letting any content creator outrage or, Reddit outrage dictate whether I jump into a game season or not, or let it sour the fun that I might be having with a particular game. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Let me know how you feel about Diablo 3 or ARPGs in general in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.